My goal is to share with you a few things that we can start doing to prepare for a recession. I must say that we have all the signals, and the key three things that signals to us that a recession might be on the horizon is: first thing is a decrease in stock market. The second thing is there's an increase in unemployment, and the third thing is there's a decrease in consumer spending. Now, once you see these three things, you should be worried that there's a recession on the horizon. Now, my name is Stephen Ojo, and I share videos that talks about money, and that's why it's called Money Talks. So you're welcome to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing and consider giving this video a thumbs up. Now, recently, due to the pandemic that we're experiencing, there has been an increase in unemployment. People are laid off from work, and people are unable to earn money, which has led to the second thing, which is a decrease in consumer spending. People are unable to spend money on non-essential things like, buying a car, traveling, visiting places. And also it's getting to a stage where it's affecting the essential things like food, shelter, rent and mortgage, and your loans and credit card bills and things like that. Now, with that comes the third thing, which is obviously people are unable to invest. And due to fear, people are actually selling their investments, which has caused the stock market to decrease. Now, with all these three factors that are present, we have a very big problem. The government is trying to prop the economy by supplying funds to people and helping people out, which is great. But the problem is that if the coronavirus isn't really tackled, or if there's no cure found for this main pandemic, then the government would have to keep supporting the economy. Now, it's getting to a point where they have to start opening up the economy and try to tell people to be safe and be careful, because the government will not be able to fund people's lives forever until there's a cure. That comes with obviously a lot of risk, because now you have a lot of people that might have underlying factors or health conditions that are now forced to go back to work because they need to earn money and they need to survive. But the thing is, as a consumer, as a public person, as a normal person just like you and I that are trying to make ends meet, what should we be doing at this time to prepare for downturn in the economy like we're seeing already? Well, one of the first things we can do is to start decreasing our expenses. That is so basic, because the thing is, first of all, we don't know what the future holds, and we don't know what's going to happen between now and when there'll be a solution to this pandemic. So the first thing you really want to do is start to get your expenses under control. And one of the easiest ways to go about this is to look at your account statement. All right, look at a bank statement for last month, 2 months ago. See the patterns, all right, of things that are considered non-essential spendings, all right, things that you feel like you could have done without, and things that you could have avoided spending money on. If you think those things are things that you probably be spending money on again, that means you have to make a conscious effort of avoiding them. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say you normally eat out, all right? Can you start making your food at home? Because trust me, if you spend $15 on food and add tips to that, sometimes $15, $20 on just one meal, if you do that 3 times a week, that's $60. If you do that, if you do that 5 times a week, that's $100. That's almost $100 right there if you spend $20 per meal, and that's just one meal a day for 5 days. Now imagine you eat 2 meals a day and you spend the same amount of money. That's going to add up pretty quickly. And in a situation where you're not sure of your next income, obviously you want to avoid that non-essential expense. And you can make food at home, and in fact it's pretty nice. I make my food at home, and it's pretty nice to cook, especially when I'm able to cook with my wife. The next thing is recurring bills, like things like Netflix, things like the gym membership that you're not even going to, things like that are non-essential that you don't really use, but they're just charging you every month for it. You want to actually get into those and cancel them or suspend them, or at least postpone them to next month until things get better. And those are just for your expenses. And like I said, look at your statement to really see what is recurring and what is common, and try to make a conscious effort of avoiding those kind of bills. The next thing is regular bills, all right, the ones that you need to pay for. Now, I'm going to give you some tips here, and this is things like if you have to pay like a rent, a mortgage, and if you have to pay like a student loan, or if you have to pay like a credit card bill. Now, let's start with the mortgage. Obviously, I'm sure you already know that if you have problems, like if you're laid off for work and you don't have enough money to cover your rent or your mortgage, you can call your loan provider to let them know that you would like to defer your loan payment, and most likely they will give you the ability to do that. You would have to just make up for the payment next, maybe when things get better, pretty much. That's for the mortgage or your rent. Now for your rent, I believe you can speak to your landlord and they can help you out. But for now, for most states, they've actually suspended evictions and things like that. So you should be able to speak to your landlord, and your landlord should be able to understand the situation of things. The other thing that comes after your mortgage is like a credit card, like student loans. Let's talk about student loans first. With the student loans, you have the ability to call your loan provider to let them know the situation of things as well. They understand that there's a pandemic, and due to the pandemic, you have the right to be able to defer or at least suspend a payment until things get better again. Now remember that most of the time they also can pause the interest rates on it. So at this point, if you think you need all the extra money to survive, I would say, yeah, you can defer some of your loan payment to things like your student loan. Now, if you have a credit card bill to be paid as well, this you can also call your bank. You can let them know what the situation of things are and let them see that you don't have any income. If you cannot pay anything, don't pay it. But let them understand and make sure that they can suspend or at least pause your payment or defer some of your payments. But the only thing about the credit card is that you might not be able to defer the interest. So you need to keep that in mind. So that's why, I'm not an advocate of credit cards. When I use it, I make sure I pay it off right away. I don't try to keep balances because of these reasons, because you don't know when you might have that emergency or you might have the need for that extra money that's supposed to go towards your credit card, but now you have to use that money for something that is more important. And that's why I hate credit card bills or balances on my credit card. Now, the third thing is like your insurance coverages, all right? Like for example, if you have car insurance, all right, now that your car is not being used, for most of us, the car just sits at home, you can easily call your insurance provider and let them know that you would like to suspend or defer your payment for the month because your car is not being used, or at least you want a reduced payment. Give them a call. Now, I believe Allstate and Geico have some form of incentive or a rebate for their customers. You need to look into that and see what your insurance has. A lot of insurance do have that. And come to think about it, if you're not driving your car, and most people aren't driving their cars, there's less chances of getting into an accident, which means there's risk pretty much of getting into an accident. And that means that our coverages, in terms of the amount that we pay towards our coverages, should be decreased because there's less risk of getting into an accident. And that makes sense. And that's why they've offered some of these incentives. And I believe I read somewhere that one insurance company is actually giving back almost $50 to their customers for the period until the pandemic is over or until things go back to normal. So look into that, find out what your insurance provider might have that will help you in at least reducing your expenses. Third thing I would like to talk about is investing, all right? I love investing. I like to talk about investing because at the end of the day, that is one of the things that we can use to get ourselves to a better financial state or financial level that we can get to. And to be honest with you, when it comes to investing in the stock market through index funds or just regular stocks of companies, these are mostly almost passive, all right? You just have to put some money into it, and over time, it does a job for itself. Now, remember, there'll be times like this when there's going to be a dip in the market. Now, when there's a dip in the market, what do? Do you panic and sell? Well, it depends on your situation. Again, your time horizon, your age, your situation of things when it comes to finances. You need to have looked into that when it comes to investing. Make sure that you've covered your basics, all right? You have all the money for your bills, you have your money for emergencies, and you have a very low amount of debt in terms of like high interest rate debt, especially like credit cards and things like that. But now is the time to then consider investing in the market, because at this point, the stock market has made a correction and you can start buying at the cheaper prices, which means it's gone on sale. With that in mind, if you have some extra money, after all your bills has been paid, then you can put some money into the stock market and hopefully capitalize on the correction of the market. And hopefully, once the coast is clear and this pandemic goes out of the way, things will start riding sky high all over again. In the meantime, if you're considering investing, please don't forget that you have a lot of options of applications to invest through. You have Vanguard, you have Acorns, you have Robinhood, you have Hemon Finance, and so many of them. All right. If you haven't started investing already, consider investing now. In the link below, we have 2 links that can lead you to start investing right away. One of them is Robinhood, and the other one is Hemon Finance. With Hemon Finance, if you start investing, you're going to get some money, and I'm going to get some money as well. And with Robinhood, when you start investing, I'm going to get a stock as well, as you will likely get a stock as well. So this video is just to go over some of these things that may help you and that has helped me in managing my finances better. So please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, again, consider subscribing, consider giving this video a thumbs up, and consider sharing this video with a loved one. Again, I do thank you for taking the time to watch it, and I'll see you next time.